This is National Chess Master RRats at chess.com to continue my video series on the correspondence team match between my video lessons group and the team CARPE DIEM. This was played on board 163, about a mid 1600 rating versus low 1500 rating thereabouts. Our man is a go 177, and I think these two games will be instructional because there are a number of fundamental mistakes that you can learn from. Now, White's first move is peculiar, but it's not a bad move. It can transpose into a lot of openings, and that's pretty much what it does. Looks like White's aiming for a collie system. And here's the first potential error on both sides. Okay, White's already developed his piece. Why retreat it? Okay. Also, the way White's pawn structure is, White doesn't want to trade light squared bishops. This is his good bishop. If you want to trade bishops, you want to trade your dark squared bishop. You don't want to trade off the light one. So even though Black is challenging the queen, one of the things that White likes to do in this is play e4. So two potential good moves are just f3, kicking the bishop out and forcing a future e4, or just simply step into a pin. And there's really no way that Black can exploit this. Okay, and knight f3 is perfectly sound move because it develops a piece. And now I think Black commits an error. One of these fundamental errors I talk about in so many of these videos. Don't make exchanges that develop your opponent's pieces. Let him make exchanges that develop yours. So what you want to do here is a reinforcement move. Let's develop the queen. Queen d7. Now if White takes, take back with the knight. You could even take back with the queen. Okay, and you're happy to trade off light squared bishops. And if White declines to exchange the piece and plays knight f3, well, look, you've got another piece developed. Okay, let's see. Let's look at this for a second. Maybe queen c8 would be a little better on that line. We'll talk about that in a second. What if White now plays bishop b5? Now White's trying to get knight. Well, he can't really get knight e5 in. There's this annoying pin. But here's White moving all his pieces several times. Black can just develop his pieces. Okay, now h3. Let's go ahead and come back. g4. We're going to let him do what he was trying to do. Okay, big deal. Black has 4 pieces developed. White has 2. White has weakened his king side. I like Black here. Okay, so anyway, Black took on e2, which develops the white queen. And good, both sides are developing pieces. Now White decides to go chase the bishop. Although, Black could allow this bishop to be traded off, and his knight is going to be superior to Black's bishop, so a logical move is to castle. You don't need to save it. And both sides castle. And here's White playing one of these useless rook pawn moves that I have been condemning in this video series. Black doesn't want to put anything on b4. Okay, develop a piece. Here it is. Develop it. Okay. And here I think Black returns the favor, although you could argue since White's wasted a move, Black could. But let's think about this for a second. Where is this knight going to go next? Guess what? It can only go back whence it came. Let it go on its own. Develop a piece. Here, queen here, right here. Okay, don't worry about knight e5. That's no problem. You can take it. And this knight comes to a nice square. He's getting ready to hop into c5 if challenged, stopping this knight from going back here right now. White might be obligated to play this move. And now e3 is a little weaker. Black's doing fine here. And see, the point is this queen is developed. There's no need to play a6 and kick the knight back. Okay. But I guess Black did it because he wants his bishop back on d6, which I think he's going to do here in a minute. Okay, now at least both sides are getting their chessmen out. Okay, now the bishop returns. King h1. I don't understand this move. What's White trying to do? the king is just giving up protection of f2. He's sent himself off to the side of the board, which won't help the endgame. Black is doing fine here, and yet Black makes a peculiar move. He attempts to redeploy his knight, gives up some pressure on e5. Now White gets e4, and so White's starting to look okay now. Black's kind of wasting some time. But we're going to see a blunder here in a minute or two. Now the bishop that got itself to d6 now goes back. Now suddenly this bishop's in play. So White's doing fine. Probably a little bit better here now. Black's kind of wiggle-waggle with his knight a couple of moves. Now it comes back from whence it came. White's actually, if White develops his bishop, he's ahead in development. But he picks a not-so-good square to put it on, and immediately succumbs to a blunder. Okay, now Black is doing better. What White has to do is play bishop takes. Okay, this is critical. And now because of the bad move king h1, Black desperados his knight and ends up a clear pawn ahead. Okay, that's the best White could do. Instead, White's not paying attention. You know how quickly these people playing correspondence chess. You know, you take your time and you think. He just gives up a free bishop. Black has won a piece and is a knight ahead, and there's really nothing White can do now. And he immediately starts obliging Black and trading pieces off, and free pawn with check. And you know, White tries to do something. Well, kind of. He here gets another exchange in. Black says, "Go ahead, run your pawn majority. I don't care." And here, Black had a threat of knight f3 check. But what if it might be a trick here? What if you play this? You know, it's a matter of. It's one of these thinking deficiencies that I've brought up in a number of videos. We often reject a move like d6. You say, well, that drops a rook. Let's make sure it does. Okay, check. Well, Black has a resource. See, here the rook is cut off. Can't escape, but however, the knight can come back and Black will win. So we'll give White credit for trying. But you need to analyze positions like this out. You can't just slam the door shut and say, "Oh, knight f3 check. I have to save my rook." You know, you stop and look at a move like d6. Although it doesn't work in this position, and Black clears his back rank, and White's off to get his passed pawn running. But it's stopped in its tracks with a nice blockade, and the game is now hopeless for White. And at this point, he gave up. Now let's take a look at the other game. Flip the board. What move number will it start us at? We don't know until we click paste. And OK. Ho! Move 3. That's not too bad. OK. So Black plays the Chigorin defense. And I've already covered this line in another opening or another video in this series. I don't remember which one right off the top of my head, but Black actually has a very good move here, e5, and suddenly White can get in trouble. I'll just show you a way he can get in trouble. Okay. Now Black takes with the queen, and if queen takes, knight takes, and now there's this fork that has to be dealt with. So the natural move is to play here, and Black is doing fine here. This induces a weakness in the White pawn structure. Takes away a potentially good square for the knight at some point, because White cannot play knight e2 because of a tactic. Bishop takes, and then knight check. There you have it. And this is known to be a good position for Black. It's not forced, but I'm just showing you. There's some analysis on it if you'll dig it up. But e3 is more or less passive. White can also go into into a mainline Chigorin with pawn takes here. These are other choices. But anyway, to make a long story short, I think e3 is a little slow. Black doesn't play e5. He plays knight f6. So I guess he didn't look up the opening. And now he finds e5. But you see, it's a little different now. I believe white can actually take this pawn. Because now you've unmasked the threat on d5. But white doesn't go for it. And now we've kind of reached a Tarrasch defense with colors reversed where white's got the tempo in hand. And here both sides commit a blunder. Well, it's not really a blunder. It's just not a good move. Okay, this check is bad. The reason it's bad is because black is shutting in this bishop, but white promptly returns the favor and shuts in his own bishop. Okay, this is just not a good strategy. Much better is just bishop e2. Okay, what bishop e2 does is it makes black stop and untangle. He's going to have to move this queen again in order to get his bishop developed. But he played queen e2, and obviously black hasn't seen this video because it was made after his games were concluded, but black commits another mistake. He develops the white bishop. Queen takes. Okay, maybe what he could have done was a move like bishop g4. This move makes sense. The threat is to take on this square because this knight is pinned. Well, not really. White can jettison the queen and win it, but let's make a bad move for white, okay? And I'll show you. Now comes this move, and white must succumb to some double pawns, as well as d4 is coming under fire. So black has pressure here, and this would actually induce white to play queen takes, and the difference is that now white has developed the black bishop. See the difference? So these are some of the rules on exchanging. Aaron Nimzovich in my system laid them all down nearly 100 years ago. The book still sells well. It's a classic. It's a must-read. So let's compare this position. Let's do this little flick here. Okay, after 8, bishop takes e7. Let's compare what black could have had to what black did get. See the big difference there? Let me find it here in the PGN. It always rearranges the PGN off to the side here. Okay, here white's bishop is developed. His two knights are developed. Both of black's bishops are at home, and it's black to play. Here, both black bishops are developed and white's isn't. See the difference you can make if you do your exchanging correctly? See, this is why queen e2 was a bad move in response. Bishop e2 was called for, not queen e2. Anyway, black missed the chance to improve his position. And again, I tell my students, in effect, this is like you're running a race with somebody, 100 yards, and you give them a 20-yard head start. It's going to be awful tough to win when you give your opponent a jump start. The moves that you want to find just aren't going to be there. But if you follow development principles, guess what? The moves are going to be there because the blunders will come. Okay, so let's get back to what happened. Okay, so black does get this developed, and white decides to reinforce c4, and black castles, and white decides to cut the black bishop off, dark squared bishop. Here comes a threat. White decides not to castle. I don't think this check really does much. Now he comes back. I guess he's planning to put the knight into c2, but white covers that. Now the king is effectively castled by hand, we call it. And now here's an example of why a move like a3 would have been so good. Just let the knight go back on his own. And white develops. But now, here we are at move 15, And the game is roughly even, but black needs to get some development here. He needs to finish it. See this bishop? Black's never going to move this bishop, as far as I recall. And essentially he gave the odds of a rook and a bishop by not bringing this out. But black insists on playing one of these bad moves that we talk about. He shoves his rook pawn, trying to keep white out of b5. Well, white has no business going there. Okay? None. And if he does, the knight's not going anywhere. Let it put the knight there. Then you can kick it out to your heart's content. Or if the bishop goes there, just redeploy your knight and play c6. a6 is a wasted move. And just like the other game, when black shoved his rook pawn, so does white's. But white's makes some sense. He's going to try to play b4 here at some point. And it looks like black's just searching for moves. And now his knight's loose. And now the knight goes back to the back rank where it can't move again. When you move a knight, always think where it can go next. Where does that knight go next? The answer is nowhere. It's going to be captured. Knight d7 is a better choice. But because black has weakened his pawn structure, maybe it's not such a better choice. See, c6 comes in. If black takes, white's going to pick up this pawn with check. And black's got some weak double pawns. White has an outside pass pawn. If black just moves his knight and takes this, well, fine. Okay, I'm going to grab this with check. And now black has a weak a pawn. And maybe I can do some damage here. Let's see. f3, where are you going to put your bishop? Here? Okay, now if I want, I can play bishop takes check. And rook takes. And now I'm pressuring d5. So if you play d6, that's fine. I'll just take the pawn. Thank you very much. You can have this pawn. And let's see. How did I not end up a pawn ahead? Was black up a pawn somehow? Strange. Black should be down a pawn here. What did I do wrong? Let's back it up. Let's see. Here, white's not up a pawn yet. Okay. He's down a pawn here. Where did he lose the pawn? Has he been a pawn? Oh, he lost it on e5. Okay, so, my analysis wasn't perfect, but it was. This is how you analyze. You check something out. I mean, I did not prepare this. I'm comfortable enough with chess. I can sit and go over a game and pretty much find all the ideas. But the bottom line is, the knight going to d7 makes sense. The knight going to e8 doesn't. Okay, so we're trying to help you, black. We're not trying to pick on you. So knight e8, and now suddenly black has a weak pawn on e4. Even though there's a tempo on the bishop, on d2, that's easily covered. And the poor black knight can't move. So he activates his rook. Still hasn't gotten his bishop into play, and he's not. Here comes a little check. And then white wants to occupy the open file. So maybe what black should do is play c6. This leaves his dark squares very weak around the king. But it also provides a square for this knight to go to. So, like, for instance, if white takes and goes after this pawn, there's a defense. And now black's getting ready to play his bishop here and finally get his rook into play. So what black played is not good. It's doing the same thing he's been doing the last two games. He makes an exchange which improves the position of white's piece. Now the rook sees, whoops, hitting the wrong button here. Oh, no, not this. Okay, rook d1. And now let's just back this up slightly and show. This rook is not active. Well, it's indirectly attacking e4. At some point, that pawn could be under pressure, but white hasn't cleared the file, and also the rook on e1 is making sure the rook on d1 is safe. So that rook on e1 isn't ready to do anything. So it's active, but it's not overly active. But black has an active rook and white has an active rook. When black makes this exchange, black no longer has an active rook, and white does. And now there's a serious threat on d8, and black has no real defense to it. So he could have analyzed this out and seen this position and realized this was a problem. So he tries a one-move solution. I'm pretty much convinced black is looking at one-movers, and white has a very strong move. And he has this strong move because black has not developed his pieces. That's why black gave white a 20-yard head start. Now this bishop, he sees this bishop's in trouble. If it goes to h4, it's going to get kicked and lost. So black puts it back. I kind of fibbed when I said the bishop never got developed. It did, but it went right back. And now white plays his rook to the back rank, and black resigned. He's losing a piece and faced with a lot of problems. Actually, you don't have to take the knight directly. Here, I'll show you a better move. Here's why. Well, maybe not. Let's see. I'm looking at this discovered check. See, my point is, yeah, I was thinking we could somehow get to c5 with our bishop next, but b6 stops it. So rook takes is fine, but it never got played because white won. Black resigned. Rook takes, and now this is a threat, and these bishops and this rook could very well get black in a mating net. Let's see. Let's try this move. Check. Only move. Okay, now how do we want to do this? How about if we put this bishop on c8? Okay, now if black's going to defend his back rank, he's going to have to get that rook in the game. Now there's a mate threat. And then finally, just in the nick of time, black may have saved himself, at least an immediate checkmate. He hasn't saved the game by any means. White could even do well with rook e7. You don't want to take here because black picks up a pawn with check. So, a piece up, it doesn't really need an analysis. I'm just trying to show just a little bit more how to play correctly. Yeah, rook e7 is fine. Now, this pawn is weak, this pawn is weak, and this pawn is safe. White will pick up those weak pawns that I've colored in red at his leisure, and this bishop can come here shortly. Let's see. Really no point in analyzing it. This stops bishop d4, but black can't make any headway. And you don't want to come up here, I don't think, because now these mate threats come up again. Whoops. And even though there's a check, how are you going to stop mate? Oh, you're not. Okay, so anyway, that's the game. There's definitely room for improvement for both sides. That's what we're trying to do, get everyone to improve their play. All right, thanks so much for your time. Take care.